Broncos made another really smart signing, and we're going to break it down on this episode of the Broncos Breakdown, because that's what we do. Everything surrounding the Denver Broncos we cover here. Welcome in. My name is Moose. A familiar face back to Mile High. Brandon Johnson returning to the practice squad with the Broncos back in 2022 to 2023, where he had 25 grabs, 5 TDs. He was on the practice squad this year with the Steelers and the Buccaneers. So you know that he comes back with a clear knowledge of Sean Payton's offense, and obviously with the insurance that the wide receiver group is kind of banged up right now. This is definitely a Troy Franklin injury designation. Now, what I mean by that is I'm not saying Troy Franklin is not going to play because we have not gotten an update about it. But what I am saying is in the event that he cannot go, this is somebody that knows the offense, can plug and play, and be another body for this wide receiver group. So, Patriots, Broncos, signing, all coming up here in just a second. But remember, it's the Moose versus Alper Bowl, by the way. We are going live, a joint live for the first time on the Broncos Breakdown in a long time with Brett Alper on Thursday. So we'll be live on Patriots today and on the Broncos Breakdown meeting together, where we will do a nice little extended tailgate. We'll do some back and forths between me and Alper. So subscribe if you want to see it. Click that bell icon. Make sure you never miss a time that we go live. Let's talk a little bit about Brandon Johnson, bringing him back to Mile High. I think this is, of course, a really smart signing. Now, I know that it feels like every time we make a signing, I'm like, this is really smart. But every single signing that we've made in recent months and recent weeks this season have all been for a purpose. It's because there's a reason behind, there's a method behind the madness is what I think I'm trying to say here. So playing in 20 games for the Broncos, he compiled 25 receptions for 326 yards and 5 touchdowns. And like I said, spent some time with the Steelers and Buccaneers this season. But again, if Troy Franklin is not able to go, or for whatever reason, Pat Bryant can't pass concussion protocol, this is another body to go after the New England Patriots secondary. It is insurance for Troy Franklin, though, in my personal opinion, because we did get the Instagram notification from Pat Bryant that he's back spinning it. So it at least appears to Moose that Pat Bryant's going to play. Troy Franklin, it's been all crickets. We're not entirely sure yet. But I will say this about Troy Franklin. Not having him on the field would be a pretty significant loss. He had an unbelievable sophomore year. If you remember last year where he wasn't really involved in the offense as much as he could have been, you really saw the jump from year 1 to year 2 when he hit the practice field in training camp and then the preseason. Then all of a sudden, he comes out like a freaking rocket year 2 and is just putting up numbers. Now, one thing I will say about Troy Franklin is that he's got to shore up his hands, because his hands are definitely not the best on the team. He's been, a couple of drops this year. In fact, I would say he'd probably have 1 or 2 more touchdowns and maybe 5 to 6 more receptions for another close to 100 yards if he caught all the balls he was supposed to catch. I think Troy Franklin has definitely earned a spot on this team for a long time, but I also know that he's not quite at the peak of his powers yet, and that's okay for being a year 2 player. But there's been this ongoing narrative that the Denver Broncos need more pass catchers in the building because of the drops that they've been going on with. And, with the Troy Franklin injury and the Pat Bryant injury, people from around Broncos media members have all been saying the same thing. We need to make sure Jarrett Stidham has someone to throw to, or multiple bodies to throw to. Now, we'll touch on Marvin Mims later on in this episode, but Courtland Sutton has had a drop problem. Troy Franklin's had a drop problem. Pat Bryant's had a concussion problem. Little Jordan Humphrey dropped a touchdown last week. So right now, the narrative surrounding the Broncos pass catchers is they're dropping the football. Stop dropping the football. So I do believe that Brandon Johnson, even though he's signed to the practice squad, I do believe you will see him on Sunday against the Patriots. I think this is absolutely a 53-man roster elevation, and not just an elevation, but somebody that will see the field. Stidham, Sutton, Johnson, Mims, Bryant, you got to have every weapon that you can in order to beat the New England Patriots. Well, Evan Ingram, too. You get my point, because it's a tight end, not a wide receiver. So if you think that Brandon Johnson is going to play on Sunday, type that Y for yes down in the comment section down below, or type no if you think he's not going to play at all, and that's very fair as well. Now, coming up, I told you we would talk a little bit about Marvin Mims and what I'm calling the X factor for this Patriots game. And there is a reason I said that, and it goes back to the Buffalo Bills game, but it also goes back to what kind of role Marvin Mims needs to play, and it is very similar to what he played against the Bills. Before we touch on Mr. Marvin Mims, got to tell you about our friends over at Mars Men. I'm about to turn 30 years old, my friends, and here's the thing. Most men start losing testosterone around age 30, and then about 1% every single year after that. So when the New Year's hit, I kind of treated it like a reset. I wanted to feel energized again and not so worn down. That's why I'm keeping it all natural. Super simple. I've got my Mars Men bottle right here and ready to go. Just take a look at it. It's very sleek. And actually, believe it or not, this one smells like maple syrup. Fun fact for you. But the thing about Mars Men is that it helps your body unlock usable testosterone so you can feel like yourself again. It supports healthy T levels, energy, and stamina with 8 natural clinically dosed ingredients, including vitamin D, zinc, boron, and more. It's made in the USA and third-party tested. Here's another cool thing, 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Worst case scenario, you don't absolutely love it, and you get your money back. But over 91% of users report higher energy levels, and thousands of guys are feeling incredible results. Just check out the reviews on the website to go see for yourself. For a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. It is a perfect way to kick off the new year strong. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts at checkout. After you purchase, they're going to say, hey, where'd you hear about us? Please support our show and tell the Moose from the Broncos Breakdown sent you. So, Mr. Marvin Mims, the X Factor. One thing about Marvin Mims that you need to know is that I feel like this year for his receiving game, he wasn't necessarily utilized the right way. I thought Sean Payton got too conservative when it came to how you could put Marvin Mims in motion, what you could use him in the screen game for, and what you could use him on the deep shots for. And then all of a sudden, first game against the Buffalo Bills, holy shit, Marvin Mims is ridiculous. 8 targets, 8 receptions, 93 yards, and a beautiful lofted football from Bo Nix right in the breadbasket into the end zone for a touchdown, as evidenced by this nice little screenshot that we found here for you. This was the game for Marvin Mims. The game that really showcased, okay, not only is he the ultimate special teams player, but he is an excellent receiver as well. And speaking of his special teams prowess, he's one of the best gadget guys in the NFL. He kind of reminds me of when Tyreek Hill first got into the league. I really do believe that. I think Marvin Mims kind of resembles that sort of game, whereas a lot of people just thought, he's just this punt returner. But then eventually started to see him slowly tick up those wide receiver, reps. And then all of a sudden, he explodes onto the scene, and you're like, whoa, where did this guy come from? That's kind of how I view Marvin Mims. And the advanced data also went out and tracked the entire charts for who had the best receiving games in the divisional round. Now, this is between tight ends, running backs, and wide receivers. Well, wouldn't you know it, number 2 for the entire divisional round was Marvin Mims. And here is the full chart in case you don't believe me. Frank Crum made his way onto that list. Same with RJ Harvey. He's a little bit further down below there. But you can see that Marvin Mims behind Dalton Kincaid was one of the most effective pass catchers in the divisional round. So using Marvin Mims in both the screen game and on deep shots is only advantageous to a player like Jarrett Stidham, who throws an excellent deep ball and can get into a rhythm in the screen game. I also just have to make a very quick plea, so I'm going to branch out here for just a second. Cortland, can you please stop dropping the ball? You're the number 1 wide receiver. You've had a drop problem for the last 6 weeks. I really need to just lock in. This is the game right here. We want to go to a Super Bowl. You want to go to a Super Bowl. Let's just see the ball in, see ball, catch ball, football 101, just like that. So that's what I've got to say to Cortland Sutton. But I will also say this. If Marvin Mims is utilized correctly and Pat Bryant comes back and he's healthy and good to go and Cortland Sutton stops dropping the ball, I realize I'm just making a laundry list of stuff now. I think you really have not only a legitimate shot to win this game, but you can also control this game. The Patriots are a good team, a very good team. They are flawed. They don't have a great offensive line. They don't have that great of a run game. They've got Drake May and a pretty good defense. That's about it. And their wide receivers are good, not great, kind of like the Denver Broncos. They're very much outside of the quarterback situation right now where Stidham and Drake May are kind of going head-to-head against each other. They're pretty much the exact same team. if you think about it. I mean, there's some clear differences in the offensive lines. There's clear differences in the defense. But when you look at the areas in which, like, both teams are really, really good and have some clear weak spots, that's kind of what I'm talking about. That's the similarity that we're seeing there. But nonetheless, they are disrespecting Jarrett Stidham. 5.5-point favorites for the New England Patriots, I think, is way too much. So you know what I'm doing? Not only am I hammering that 5.5 for Denver, but I'm just taking them outright because let's go Broncos. Like I said, though, we're going to be live with Mr. Brett Alper on Patriots today, as well as the Broncos Breakdown, so make sure you tune in. We're going to do a little sub battle, a little super chat battle. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you pull up. That's all I got for you today, Broncos country. Brandon Johnson back in Mile High. Very grateful to have him back. We're going to need everybody that we can. As always, Mile High salute. Be cool.